welcome to Member Services Roundtable Part 5, I think it is, Victoria. So, number 5, we are going to just have a conversation today. So, please use the chat if you have any questions, or if there's that, 15-second silence, please go ahead and jump in and go with it. So, if you haven't been on with us before, please mute yourself if you're not speaking. Everyone should be muted right now. And then also, if you could go ahead to the top right-hand corner of your screen, there's those 3 dots. If you want to go ahead and put your university in there so we know who you are, so we don't have to put it through the chat to make that all congested, that would be great. And we're gonna go ahead and get started. So I'm Megan Choiniere. I'm from Oakland University. I'm the Member Services Coordinator. We are not open yet, so still have a lot to learn from all of you who are. And then I am joined by...
Hi, I'm Victoria. I'm here at Clemson. I do Member Services and Aquatics. And we also are not open yet, but finally was allowed back on campus. So I'm actually joining you from campus today. My cats won't be joining us, so sorry about that if you've seen them on any of the other calls. Love to see your animals make a highlight or guest appearance. So who's open? Open and ready for business. Anybody want to kick it off?
Anthony, I see you are. I know you had messaged Victoria and Taylor, so if you want to kick it off and let us know how everything's going at University of Central Arkansas, that'd be awesome.
Well, we are 1 day away from week 2. Currently, the only individuals that are allowed on campus, or sorry, in our building, are on-campus students, which are about 140, and the current term students. No employees, no other additional members, nothing like that.
Okay. I had to chuckle. The one point that you emailed me that stuck out, which I'm sure everybody will also resonate with, is when you think you have enough sign holders, whether they're sticky or plastic tabletop or stanchions, like you never have enough. So whatever you think you need, double it.
Yes, so I use the phrase, you can't swing a cat without hitting one.
So Anthony, with the decision on who was allowed in the building, I'm assuming, was that an upper administration call? How did you guys kind of land on that?
That is correct. That was an upper administration call. I will say that, so we're only opened up Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. 10 a.m. from 11 a.m. is for our higher risk individuals, like 70 or 65 or older, and then other health conditions. Last week, we literally had 15 to 20 people come in every day, and we were kind of trying to say, well, how about next week? Why don't we allow employees and to come into the building? And administration said, no, we're going to wait until the next phase, which is July 5th, to allow employees to come into the building.
Is anybody else in that boat? No.
Don't be shy, you guys. We're all in this together.
So anybody open that has fully opened up to students, employees, community members? Looks like we're a quiet group today.
I know coming back this week has definitely been interesting. I didn't think that I was going to like the plexiglass shields that were up, except when I've had members coming in to clean out their lockers. Being behind a plexiglass shield, standing out there by myself, it's kind of a great barrier. I don't necessarily have to have a mask on when I'm talking to somebody, which is great. I didn't like it, but I do like them now. So what other kind of modifications do you guys have going on at your facilities? Show of hands, who's been allowed back in their facility?
A couple of us.
Few of you? Okay, cool. So this might be a little bit different conversation, but what do you guys miss the most about your members?
Or do you miss them?
Or do you miss them? Nobody misses their members?
I'll speak. So I know for me, personally with our members, I mean, I've been sitting at home, I don't know about a lot of you, but home alone, for about 4 months. So we're getting to that 4-month mark. So I'm just like excited to get back. I think really it's probably more my student members and my student employees that I miss. And I'm really interested to see how things go with the student employees when we come back. I know there were some stipulations that a lot of them put out there that how they would feel comfortable to come back. So for us, like one of them was plexiglass, and we finally just got the approval to purchase it the other day, thank God. So we will have plexiglass at our front desk, but I've actually ran into a lot of my members out and about in the community. So that's been interesting because they've stopped and talked to me for like 30 minutes at a time. So, you know, gotta love that.
I'll hop in here. Jeremy Chance with the University of Kansas. Before going to the members part, kind of the previous question, then I think COVID has allowed our department to really consider some of these things that a lot of y'all are already doing, like going cashless. We're certainly considering that at our member services stations. We're investigating Fusion Go to kind of increase the functionality with that. So really going to push our online rec store for memberships and all of those types of services. We're exploring the Connect to live counts as well. So I think things that aren't necessarily cutting edge, but maybe they are for our department. I think COVID has allowed us to explore some of those features of the services that we have and really take those steps forward. So we're definitely excited about implementing a lot of those different things. And Megan, to your point, definitely miss the student employees, but also just kind of the student. I have more of that operations experience. So without having a building to run, there's not much going on. So I definitely miss just the randomness of the day and the members that we have.
So I saw in the chat, Deonte, if you want to chime in, it looks like you're not actually allowing your community members back. Probably not your decision, I'm assuming. And it seems like they're not happy. What kind of decision was made beyond that, and how did you guys communicate that with them?
Hello, Deonte from Tulan University. Yeah, our members were not happy at all. It was a decision made by the university, but it was also discussed within our department about whether or not they have access. And ultimately, the decision was to try and protect our immediate community, which is Tulan affiliates, faculty, staff, students, alumni, and emeritus members. And upon opening, I think he's the director of health, he said that we're getting everyone in the university tested, all 20,000 people upon the return, and they'll be tested regularly as well. So going through all of that to make sure that we're all safe, and then allowing people in the community who we can't allow or can't provide that same amount of, I guess, like a health screening for them. We can't guarantee their safety or anything like that. To introduce them into the population would kind of defeat the purpose of testing everyone. So I believe that was the main point that led to that decision being made. And we communicated that through our email subscription list and through our app. We sent out a push notification. And once we did that, we got a lot of feedback. We're still getting feedback because the notice was sent out last week. And we're also getting a lot of cancellations as well, which makes sense. But yeah, that's pretty much what led up to that decision, what's been happening so far.
I know there was huge conversation here about whether we were going to or not as well, and testing had come into play. We actually don't really currently know the status of our paying members, except for the fact that we did say we were going to originally make sure that they were included in the group. As of right now, our campus just has to do daily health screenings, and I'm pretty sure that is going to apply to our members as well, whether that is just a verbal in person or we may use Fusion possibly for that as well, with like a prompt that like we saw in the daily membership. We're not really sure on that yet. So that is something that was talked about for us as well.
So hang on, let me scroll back up to where I saw it. Somebody, Judy, you put in here, how are we alerting members to our changes in the facility? I know our facilities and ops teams are working on kind of like video tours of what our facilities look like now. So anywhere where we've maybe had to change to one-way hallways, we're showing those, showing new ways of facility access because we're going strictly contactless facility access now. So kind of showing all of those new things, and we'll put those on our website, as well as doing short little videos. I can't think of the name of the fitness center that does all the Planet Fitness has a really short, like 1-minute video on their website, which is kind of where we got our inspiration of like, this is what we're doing for you. This is what you need to know when you come back. Our university kind of has done signage packages. So they kind of told us what we can and can't put out. And then we'll be emailing everybody as soon as we get a final say of kind of, yes, you can open. We're going to be restricted to students, faculty, and staff to start. And only one of our facilities will be open, but we're not going to open the pool or the climbing wall, basketball courts, that type of stuff. So yeah, we're probably going to get a lot of those not so pleasant emails as well.
Yeah, I know Colorado Mesa, they opened the last time we all met together, and they did actually put out a video as well. And then they did a video with Fusion that was really cool to kind of show how their facility looked. I think we're looking at doing something similar, just kind of a heads up. And then actually University of Nebraska Lincoln, they had a really awesome, their COVID-19 page on their website had everything you could ever need to know, but very summarized. So it was nice and orderly of what they needed when they came back. So we're looking at stuff like that. Another thing I was just talking with Victoria about is my students didn't necessarily do the greatest job of capturing everyone's email when they signed up. Shocking, I know. So they, so we are actually using a Google email to text thing at the moment, which is called HQ Cloud, and it's, you basically purchase a phone number through Google in order to text anybody who we don't have an email for, so we can get that email address so we can actually notify them when we are open and get them the proper communication. So that is also something we're doing.
Courtney at University of Arizona, would you be willing to talk about the town hall that you guys had? That sounds really interesting and not something I had actually thought about. If you want to talk about maybe who facilitated that, how that information got sent out about joining, how it went.
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually had it this morning, and so it was at 9 a.m. bright and early. We had about 50 questions that were submitted in advance from our members, and these were all non-student members because we found that we were getting so many emails and calls about when we were reopening, if they could just be let into the pool to swim a couple laps, like anything you can think of. Questions were just coming in, so we were just like, why don't we just sit on a panel and just have them ask questions and update them about any information we have about our facility. And so we gave them brief updates because our facility is ready to go. We're honestly just waiting on the university to give us the go ahead. But if you've seen the news, Arizona is definitely the hot spot. So we're definitely holding off on opening anytime soon. But it went the full hour, and people asked really good questions about, you know, memberships, lockers, extensions on their memberships, just anything you can think of. We also had our assistant director of aquatics on there because we do have a high swimming population here. So it was nice to have somebody who could answer, you know, lane reservations and one person per lane and all of that. So I would highly recommend it. I think it really keeps your people feeling like they're informed. And I know a lot of people at the end of it asked for a second one during when we have a reopening closer to a certain date. But I think they were very appreciative of the information. So I think it went really well.
That's awesome.
So I saw that way earlier in the chat, Christine, you put that you guys are requiring masks completely during the facility. I'm assuming even while they're working out. Can you speak on how you guys got to that? Was it a university decision? I know we're actually doing the same thing as of right now.
Sure. Ours was a university decision that caught us off guard. It wasn't something that had really come to life for us until a couple days ago, and we were not part of the conversation. So they're talking a lot about it's required during all types of workouts, and really we shouldn't be offering high intensity workouts or encouraging them. So that poses a lot of questions for us then, like what's considered high intensity. It varies depending on your fitness level and your age. And so it really kind of threw a wrench in our plans. We had originally laid out to have our equipment, everything spaced out 12 feet to consider the droplets and everything, like modifications with our track. So it really kind of threw us a curveball. We sent in one proposal to fight it and they said no. But I think with Purdue, I don't know if anyone is seeing, I mean, our president's on CNN, the news, he's all over the place. So we're kind of in this hot spot. So we have this Protect Purdue plan that campus is rolling out. So we're accepting our fate right now and hoping that come July, we get feedback or something to kind of prove how potentially unsafe it could be and kind of seeing what our member decline will be like. But we're very concerned because no other gym in Indiana right now is requiring a mask while you work out.
So I want to jump in with Christine on this. We had plenty of notice, and it was not our decision. The State Department of Health mandated that all employees of our types of facilities, you know, whether it's public, private, college or not, would wear them. Patrons have to wear them when they enter. And I put the attachment from the Department of Health. They use the term actively exercising is when patrons can remove the mask. So obviously cardio exercises, cool, great. But we've kind of expanded that and been like, if you're doing strength training, you can take it off. And I would say in the time that we've been open, probably about 80% of people, will take them off. Obviously most of the cardio take them off, but about 80-90% of the people doing weights take them off. Some of them do the ascot, where the little thing that hangs down by your chin. Most of them do that.
I know the university, not for our members, but provided all of our employees, and we'll be providing all of our student employees to masks. Our team has lovingly started referring to these as the diaper. If you've ever seen or handled a cloth diaper, that's what this one feels like. And then we've got this other one that's the purple and orange, and it's kind of got one of those pouches on the inside that you can put a filter in. So all of our student staff, all of our professional staff have gotten 2 masks from the university, and they're recommending that they're worn on campus, but we don't have any specific guidelines or direction of like, well, yep, you have to wear them for X, Y, or Z. So we're still in that holding pattern, still waiting on a lot of trickle down from the university itself, which I'm sure you guys are all very familiar with. MC, I saw that you are on this call. I know in the NIRSA chatter, there's been a lot of questions about the new offerings that you guys have kind of put together and how to use the program function for scheduling like facility reservations, if anybody's facility is going to be doing facility reservations. So if anybody has any questions in regards to that, now might be a great time to talk to MC from Fusion.
I'm here.
Is anybody required to do facility reservations or area reservations for maybe your pool or your climbing wall or other areas like that?
Sandy Wilson from University of Wisconsin-Madison. We will be doing facility reservations deemed by our university that they would prefer that, and we were pretty much on board with that anyway to start off. So our plan is to do that very similar to the way that Fusion does it in their like training video that they have, but we haven't locked down the amount of time right now. We have it just, maybe it's going to be a 45-minute time slot to give us 15 minutes to clean. Could make that 70 minutes with 20 minutes to clean. So we're still working out those details, but for those that have Fusion, it's very simple. So if you haven't checked that out, I recommend doing it. Basically like setting up your group fitness classes. But yeah, there you go. check out the video library. I literally just followed that as I set it up. It's very easy. So, but yeah, we are planning to do that. It'll be a big part of our communications when we get to that point. But right now we don't have a reopening date. We're just getting it all set up so that we can go when they say go. So.
MC Taylor couldn't get on this call because they're actually trying to push through Virginia Tech getting open in the next couple of days. So she was asking about when possibly the real-time facility counts were going to be ready to go. So if you have any
question, it should be next week. We should publish release
I will
notes.
let her know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Has anybody that's open, so Josh just put a question out about having lines of people waiting to come into your facility, whether that's with a check-in system or not. Has anybody encountered that sort of demand at your facility yet if you're reopened? I know I've heard from people in our state that they've reopened and they see like 2 people a day.
Josh, an idea that we thought of yesterday with our team, I know we were on like the Microsoft Teams as well, but they talked about doing it Chick-fil-A style. So you have a student with a mask. You'd have to think about the distancing, but you have somebody with an iPad that's doing the check-in like we have for our group fitness classes. So you have one line management person doing that, and then you have your person up front doing your access point where they're scanning as well. So I haven't thought of all the details of it, but somebody recommended that where you look at a lot of, I don't know, I guess Chick-fil-A does it really well. I don't go there that often, but that was an idea that people had thought about for line management.
Actually, this is MC from Innosoft, and I can totally chime in on Chick-fil-A because my 4-year-old loves it, and we'll drive up and there are employees who are just like waiting to take your order. You don't even have to drive up to the menu. They've got this little mobile menu for you to look at if you don't know what you want. If you place your order online, they just check everything in. They're like, okay, it'll be ready when you drive up, and you can, sometimes you pay right there with that little mobile one, or you pull around and pay like further up, but you don't even go all the way to the window to pay anymore a lot of the time. But yeah, they've usually got like 3 people who are checking all the cars that are about to line up. It's pretty great.
Yeah, our plan at Madison is actually to have 2 stations for checking in. I mean, we have, granted, you know, they're not in school right now, all of them, but we have 40,000 students, so we expect quite a few people even when we do reopen initially. But we'll have 2 stations for check-in is the plan, and we are working out right now even having like a barrier that can hang from the ceiling for that second checkpoint, because that won't be at a desk where we can, you know, easily install something like that. So again, still working out the logistics, but that's our plan. We have it laid out. We just need to figure out how to like actually physically do those things. So we are hoping that the 2 stations help with that. Another thought we've had, and maybe an idea for some groups, is we're probably going to start with just like on the hour time for reservations, but we have considered maybe doing it where we have an on the hour and we have a half an hour. It's just getting them out is harder when you add that in, because you've got who's the ones that were there first versus second. Kind of have to like have people get into the rhythm first before you can start adding an element like that. But depending on how big your facility is, you might be able to manage that a little better.
So those of you that are going to be doing facility reservations, and I saw someone put this in the chat too, are you going to require that you have to sign up ahead of time? There's no show up and register there, even if there are slots available, or are you just going to say, sure, we've got slots, let me go ahead and register you? And then maybe pros, cons for whatever, or how you came to those decisions.
We've looked at all 3 options. We're similar like what Sandy was talking about. We have 45,000 students at Purdue. So for us, we're looking at what is all reservations, no reservations, and a mix of the 2. So would you reserve 50% of your capacity for reservations? And then we're thinking of building in a 10 to 15% of our capacity to be less than what we allow people in, just thinking about how we're getting people out of the building. So we know we're not going to chase people down. Managing that would be far too difficult. So we're looking at, if our capacity is 500 people, we only allow 470 in during the hour-and-a-half time slot to account for those people that are going to stay past their time frame. But we're looking at all different options. We haven't decided yet. I think it'll change a lot as we reopen as well. So that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, trying to get people out of the building at the end of the night is hard enough. I can't imagine having to do it like at the end of every hour. Oh.
just like announced over the overhead, like, your hour is up.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking, like, broadcast. If you came in at this time, time to go.
So we have not done that aspect. It is out there in the future, obviously as we open up for more people, and we're like, well, how do you identify those people, unless you literally clear the whole building out and then let everybody in, the next group. Some of you guys that have had babies, you're gonna laugh because you know what I'm talking about. But the new like pacifier savers that you can clip onto to the kids' shirts. We've been talking about doing that and like kind of like color coding them or number them, and like the patrons have to have those with them, so we know you're in the first hour, you're in the second hour, or whatever it is, so we know how to identify you to get you out.
How do you plan on cleaning those?
Oh, good question.
Okay, so one, you can put them into the washing machine. Obviously, we're going to have enough that we can cycle through. That's kind of our main thing, is to throw it in the washing machine and have enough to cycle through.
Okay.
I know someone on one of the calls, there's been so many of these, so talked about like shoe tags, and I can't remember what, apparently there's different color coded ones that you can like throw out. I don't know how, environmentally friendly that is or anything like that, but I feel like, there's also technically you could do colored wristbands depending on how long and how sustainable that is. So that is something I know someone threw out. I just can't remember what call that was on. So.
Guess you could get the rubbery, like Livestrong style to be a little bit more sustainable, but
I know.
Getting those back is going to be tricky too. Although I guess if we have somebody counting everybody going out, maybe a count and you drop your wristband at the same time, or tag or whatever.
Oh, perfect. There's the thing about the shoe tags down there.
All right, what else do y'all want to chat about today?
I would love to know what people are thinking about for, I know it's kind of a ways off and we're all wanting to, get our buildings up and going, but what are you guys thinking about for fall training? Typically, I feel like a lot of universities do like a back to school training with their staffs. Like, are you looking at trying to do it in phases where you can limit the number of people, all virtual? We're just implementing Fusion, so we're trying to figure out how to train an entire staff on Fusion from home. So there's some things that I would love to pick your guys' brains about if you guys have some plans already in order.
Yeah, here at Boise State, we're looking to basically have virtual training for our staff that's going to be returning. We're looking to reopen July 20th. So we're going to do virtual training for the staff that'll be here during that time, but also for the upcoming fall semester, we'll be doing majority of our training virtually. But as we get closer to the fall, we're looking to do small group training in person to get more in depth on those items that we want to hit on, especially with all the coronavirus that's going on.
I know as an overall staff, instead of doing our one day in person, here's all the things you need to know, we call it fall staff kickoff. Instead of doing that, we are spreading it out into over a week. And so they will be virtual. So day one is going to be kind of similar, like the town hall style of our upper admin for the department talking about what the changes look like, the same type of spiel stuff that they go over every year. And then the end of that one is just going to be like an open forum for our students to just ask all the questions. Sometimes they come to us and we may not have all the answers, or, maybe they just want to hear it from the top. And sometimes it's really important for them to hear from those folks that they don't see every day, like our directors and stuff like that. So that'll be day one. And then each day will be different topics that our professional staff and a panel will kind of cover. So one, we've always done kind of like a how do you rec campaign where students submit either photos or videos or whatever about how they recreate. And so we're changing that to like a how do I rec for one session. So talking about how our students can continue to be active with us. So whether going over all the different stipulations of how are you going to get in the building? Do you have to wear a mask? All these questions that we're figuring out. So our students have all that information Another day going over EAP stuff, all the changes to that. One day focusing on customer service. We're going to have a lot of different types of conversations nowadays. And our climbing wall group development person was like, yeah, we're going to have a session on like, how do you communicate with your eyes if you can't see someone's face and their gesture or their facial expressions as much. So just kind of spacing that out throughout the week. They will be probably either through Zoom or WebEx, but then we'll upload them every evening so that students that couldn't make it during the day will be required to watch it in their own time. And then we'll just kind of say, okay, each one was an hour long. At the end of the week, we'll add 5 hours to everybody's time card. And then we will also have a day where any new hires can come in and fill out like their I-9, or if they've done it virtually, come in and show us their social security card and all those other documents. So that's what we're thinking.
Kelly here at East Carolina. University. Just with training, we were told that we actually have to cut our staff by 50%. So right now it does not look like we'll have any new hires. So that's kind of working out to our benefit that we don't have to do super in-depth training just because they will be mostly returning. And we don't anticipate doing an all staff training. It's just going to be a COVID specific, a few fusion things, and then as well as, how to clean the weight room or clean equipment properly. So we're making it pretty specific to COVID. And then as things maybe start to open up, similar to Victoria, we'll kind of have some sessions along the way that each day we'll have more specific, okay, like what about fusion and memberships might they need to know, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, so for me, so far what I've been doing is a lot of people have said this in the chat. I've been creating fusion tutorials, and then I'm also most likely going to be doing like probably 2-on-1 trainings with my staff as of right now, where we can Zoom and actually screen share so they can take control of my screen and learn fusion that way. Since we're transitioning to a new software, I think that is probably going to be like the larger focus for our membership team for at least fall training. Nicely, as we open, we won't have to worry about it too much because we're not going to have any sales at the beginning as we open, since we're extending everyone's memberships. And so we are also going cashless and like not selling water or anything like that in our first phase. So that is all going to be something that comes. Yeah, Christine, I agree. Like using those breakout rooms could be awesome as well. Have you ever done that before?
Yes, we did it today, actually. We had
cool.
Professional staff. We're kind of doing some like diversity trainings with our staff and all reading a book. So we like break out into breakout groups and always come back after certain activities. So it's super easy to do, and you just have somebody facilitate it. And then like I can like pop into all the different breakout rooms and just check in, I guess. So it's what I'm thinking about for staff training. It's just a good way to separate some of your like lead staff from your new staff from these, and then being able to pop in and out is really great.
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't want to ignore Enzo's question that he put in. So Enzo, do you want to go ahead and ask that question to the group?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thanks for answering my earlier question on here. No, I think with our university, my boss, Amber, who's also on this call, shout out, have just been analyzing everything that's been going on. And we just, we're thinking of kind of going back. We're going to have some questions, and I think we owe it to some of our staff members to try and address some of these things. So just curious if anybody had starting to think of how we already have to kind of reconstruct some of these trainings, considering some of them might be almost completely online. How are we going to go about, maybe since we already have to reconstruct this, adding a component that's about cultural competency? I heard somebody just speak about how they're reading a book on diversity. I think that's great. Anything like that, if anybody can kind of lend any knowledge to that or what they're trying to do or thinking about doing would be awesome.
I know in the past for me at other schools, I have actually brought in someone from the Multicultural Center or CMI at my current school to have a training with our students. A lot of them, we've actually looked at unconscious bias training. So I've done that in the past. Something that would be interesting, I think, especially in our current times to bring back, you know, so I do think like it's definitely important, especially in these times. And here at OU, we have a very diverse campus with a very diverse staff. So I think lending that training to them in times of our actual staff trainings, like we're looking at professional development throughout the year about topics like this instead of just focusing on it once throughout the year.
I kind of have an ongoing list of like trainings, I guess diversity trainings you could call them, that I like to offer for my staff. And so expanding it for this year. So I have things like ally training offered through the Safe Zone Project, Title IX training, which I think they have to go through as a student anyways, bystander intervention, how to overcome language barriers, using person first language, those type of things, just throughout the year that we go over, that we talk about. Ours tend to be more focused on the customer service aspect of things since we are, you know, that first point of contact. And then also just working with your offices on campus to figure out if they facilitate other trainings, whether they're virtual, in person. I know a lot of, I found the other day a library looking for some resources for students that a lot of the trainings are now offered virtually since everybody is kind of leaning that way. So that may make it easier to facilitate as well.
And there's also a couple really great resources through NIRSA. I know they have their Equity, Diversity, Inclusion Resource Guide, which is like chapter by chapter on all the different types of identities. And in addition to just the information on it, it's also practical, thought-provoking questions that can help generate that conversation. And then one thing to definitely highlight, maybe not for staff training, but I know last week, the president, David Davenport, and then the executive director, Pam Watts, shared that letter with a link to a Black caucus and a white ally caucus, just to kind of generate that conversation at the national level regarding the current topic, the current situation. So definitely resources worth checking out.
What we're doing at Purdue is we had some staff members that really took it upon themselves to kind of create some different curriculum. So we're kind of testing it out with our professional staff. So we're all reading the same book. We have these specific activity questions that I believe they're creating some of them and also getting some from online resources, but then just kind of different tools they send us. Like there's been some great YouTube videos they've shared with us. We all took the Harvard implicit bias quiz and like talked about our results. So it's having those really vulnerable conversations and seeing how it is with our professional staff. And we go into these breakout groups, but kind of trying to see what like us as professionals then want to bring to our students, because for us, celebrate differences is our first like part of our mission at Purdue. So it's important for us that we feel like we need to educate on all different aspects of it. And we have some specific diversity trainings, but how can we be more intentional with the education and not just like checking a box, you know, for the university for there. So I think it's a really challenging time for all of us, but also a really unique opportunity to help educate our students. So we're kind of trying to create some sort of curriculum and keep you posted with how it goes.
Appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
Never underestimate the power of just reaching out. I know that I've reached out to all my students, just say, hey, there's a lot going on right now. I'm here for you. If you want to talk, if you don't want to talk, if you want to have a dialogue, you want to have a debate, I'm here. So
I would agree with that. I think right now silence is really damaging. So if you have the opportunity to reach out to all of your students, do so. Any other hot topics people want to talk about? That one was a good one.
This is totally changing conversation, but as far as use lockers, this has been like a hot topic that our university keeps challenging us with what we present to them. We have decided to have our locker rooms open. Currently, we are looking at only having locker service members have access, and we put locks on all of our day use lockers in there. But throughout your facility, are you allowing day use lockers to be open, and how are you managing that from all that standpoint?
We haven't fully decided just yet, but we're looking at eliminating day use lockers in our facility for the time being.
Hey, Christine, I want to chime in as well. We actually are suspending our locker use in the locker rooms because it's difficult to enforce that 6-foot distance between people, and also you have to clean them between every person that uses them. It's too much hassle. What we've elected to do was use some of the lockers that are outside of the locker rooms and remove the doors from them so they can be used as kind of like a cubby, and it also reduces the points of contact with that space as well.
I hadn't thought about this until just now, and it may sound really silly coming out, but we are kind of doing like a bring your own campaign. So like bring your own towel, bring your own water bottle, because we're only going to have the fill stations available. And those like bring your own exercise mat if you need it. So maybe there needs to be like a bring your own and then a leave at home of like, don't bring your entire gym bag. You're not going to be able to shower. Only bring what you need, your phone, your wallet, your keys, those type of things.
And that all rhymed. I love it. We also are discontinuing locker service inside our locker room. As of right now, from what I know, our showers will not be available unless that changes. That also goes along with our pool. Like our pool is not going to be online when we first open in the opening phases. So yeah, that is what we are doing. Anything else? Anything else that we haven't answered today, we haven't talked about that you want to talk about?
Doesn't have to be memberships related.
So with the lockers, we are messing around with the idea of basically stopping our annual locker service memberships. So basically you can only buy one semester from now on, given that we don't know what the future looks like. Is there anyone else that have taken that approach as well?
I can jump in from Madison, or Wisconsin-Madison. Yeah, we decided actually with our, we're not gonna have lockers, but similarly with our memberships, we are going to open up with only recurring memberships. So it's the monthly recurring on a credit card. We already were planning to go cashless when we have to start and reopen anyway. And those takes away some options and it adds a small admin fee for that type of membership. We have a lot of reasons why that we're gonna put on our website and our emails, and our staff will know to share with members. But really at the end of the day, it comes down to needing to have a little bit more flexibility for both the member and for us administratively to be able to just pause a membership and start it up again. If we have to take a month off or 2 months off, or something hits and we're off again for 4 or 5 months like we have been this time. So I'm sure many of you have realized or had this happen to you where like refunds are just like everything you do all day, because that's just where we live right now. So this is just to help us basically manage this over the next 6 to 9 months as we can see this unfold. I will say those people that are current members won't be effective for a little while because they're going to be able to get extensions. So until theirs actually comes around to an expiration, they won't have to worry about it. But any new members or somebody that like canceled during this and got a refund, if they come in and want to start up with us, we are going to have that recurring option only to start. So.
Thank you.
So I just posed the question here. Has anybody else come up with maybe disciplinary actions for members who don't want to follow new policies, or anybody who's currently open? Have you ran into this issue and what have you done?
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Greg.
I can speak for Creighton it's a university initiative at this point, right? So if you're not following the directives laid out by the university, there will be actionable items. they've already said that tenure faculty will be put through their tenure punishment guidelines, for lack of a better term. If it's a student, we're going to put them through the student contact process. We're not asking folks anymore. We're past that level of service. Now we are trying to keep this facility open. And if people can't comply, for lack of a better term, we're going to lose the ability to offer it. So again, we're past that being nice piece of that. We just need you to do what we ask you to do to keep the facility open. I say all that to say we're going to put out a bunch of positive messaging, encouraging folks. Right? But on the back end of that, they're going to have real repercussions. But we're trying not to front load that with folks.
Greg, remind me again, do you guys have community members? I can't remember.
We did. We have stopped that effective March 15th, and that is probably not coming back.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure, because obviously, you know, like the nice thing is when you have faculty, staff, students, you can definitely put them through a university process. But when you have current just community paying members, then what do you do with them? I agree. I think like there needs to be pretty strict, like you're going to get on board. We're trying to keep everyone safe. But when they pay, it does make things a little bit more complicated, but it also makes it a little bit easier to just finish their ability to access your facility when you can just say, we'll give you the refund.
I think that's a great campaign point for like, hey, we can control if they get out of hand, like there can be repercussions for these students, faculty, staff. It's very easy to manage that way. Whereas like you said, with community members, like,
yeah.
So I kind of wanted to answer, Greg, and this is a general one for a lot of you guys. You know, it's hard to come up with some decisions when you want to know what, you know, how to follow what rules and, you know, what policies should you have or what should be out there. And, you know, I keep on referring back to our Department of Health because, yes, some of those stipulations, you're just like, what were you thinking? And some of them were like, thank goodness you said that, so we didn't have to. So if you can get, whether it's a Department of Health, the university, you know, the administration, to set out policies to kind of give you guys a little bit of muscle, that's what I would really ask your upper management, your upper admin to kind of help you out. Because we had the question about the mask, and it was really more on HR and the students in the classrooms. And when they had their Zoom meeting, it was a little bit of a hem and haw, so to speak, on what to do. For us, look, the Department of Health says you got to have it. You got to have it. It's as simple as that. And if you want to create an issue, I'll just pick up the phone and call the PD. They'll come and escort you out of the building.
Yeah, for us, our police department has kind of made a stance on like they don't want to be called on that. So that is going to be the interesting part, I think, for us. Obviously, right now it is state mandated and university mandated, but as we continue to look towards opening, it's just going to be trying to figure out those actionable steps for students to take when they're actually confronting these individuals and how they want to go about that.
But we all have really awesome members that are never going to be a problem, right?
Never. Is anyone selling masks? Sorry, I saw that in there and I was like, that's interesting. Might be a good way to make some money if we're all extending all these memberships. So.
ECU has mentioned, and we don't know if this will come through, that they will give us a certain amount of masks to provide to students in case they do forget them in the facility. But again, it's hard to say how long that would last. So luckily, we're hoping to provide free masks if that's the case, but we'll see when we get closer to potential reopen.
Yeah, we don't have a pro shop in general at Clemson, so we don't sell anything other than memberships and lockers and towel service and stuff. So I don't think that that's something that we would do. Although if the university tells us we have to, they're required for our participants, then it could be something we look at. But that also kind of just creates another additional point of contact between you and a stranger. So I don't know.
I know our bookstore is selling them, so we'll probably just direct them over there. Okay, so we are coming up on the last 10 minutes of the phone call. So if anybody has anything else they want to get out there, please feel free. We'll obviously always keep the conversation going through the Member Connect in the membership. Well, we've done it through the main community as well, but we have our membership community on the NIRSA Connect board, so make sure you're a part of that if you aren't already.
Anybody have any feel-good stories from the last couple weeks that they want to share to end us on a good note?
I can share a small one from this morning. I had gone into our facility to just help a couple of people out with their locker stuff. Our police on campus have been really helpful in opening buildings for people that need to get in for their locker items. But we have, a few here or there that have special considerations or just don't want to go in the building. And so, working with those people specifically it's just been nice to have those like one-on-one interactions, which we aren't getting right now with members. I mean, we're not doing like Zoom calls with members either. It's all emails. So that was really nice this morning to have that. And like, you can see how appreciative they are when we and member services go that extra mile to help them out. So that's my feel good for the day.
Great. Anybody else?
I know people want to come back because we have our outdoor fitness court right outside of our facility and it's been packed all day. So that's been really awesome to see, even though it's like 89 degrees here. So people definitely want to come back and work out.
They shut our outdoor space down, so they can't even use that.
Ours just reopened this week. So we do have that now available for our members, which is nice.
Ooh, Monica, we are only mailing items to folks that couldn't come in to clean out their lockers if they're like a graduated student or somebody that has moved and is no longer local. Anybody else, we've just said we'll hold them until you feel comfortable coming back. So we've got like a storage room where we're just kind of putting everyone's belongings that can't come or doesn't feel comfortable.
I'm going to throw out our shameless plug, Victoria. So Victoria Taylor and I are planning on, as of right now, if NIRSA 2021 happens, we are planning on presenting like we were going to, kind of a panel discussion. So if anyone is interested in joining us, please shoot me or Victoria or Taylor an email. We hope it can happen this year. So if you are interested in doing that, please reach out.
Yeah, we'd love to have a new friend. I didn't know Megan before this, so although I didn't know many of you before this either. So fingers crossed we still get that professional development funds.
Exactly. Okay, well, if there is nothing else, I think we're going to wrap up today. We're going to wrap up today. So I look forward to talking with all of you again. Again, let's keep that conversation going. My shameless plug again for NIRSA, also for membership. If you you're going to go and you want to submit a presentation proposal, presentations are due, I think, on the 24th. So let's get some membership presentations this year. And then great to see all of you.